having emotional boundaries, I believe, is the number one thing that can be the game changer in your life. This is when you're not going to put up with any BS from people because you know what you deserve, you know what your worth is, and you're no longer going to accept mistreatment from people who may be taking advantage of you, who feel like they can use you and abuse you. Or maybe it's because you are that kind of person where you struggle to say no to people because deep down, maybe you suffer with people-pleasing tendencies. And I think many of us have this problem. And as women, in particular, we seem to gravitate towards people-pleasing. A lot of us, we sacrifice a lot of ourselves to be accepted, to feel validation from people, because as women, from a young age, we've been taught that we need to give. And there's nothing wrong with giving, don't get me wrong, but a lot of us have learned to overgive to the extent where we are exhausted, we are tired. A lot of us end up accepting toxic partners because we're afraid that we may not find anyone better, that we believe that this is what we should accept, this is what everyone else does, this is what women do. But the truth is, you don't have to, we don't have to. And a lot of it comes down to setting emotional boundaries. You know, this is the one thing that's going to set the tone for how people will treat you. It's the game changer. You know, what we allow people to do and not do in our life is how happy we will be. You know, this is everything. And I want to share with you a few ways that I have worked on myself, how to set emotional boundaries, from someone who has been a chronic people pleaser in the past, overcoming people pleaser. I think this is something that once you are a people pleaser, you know, it's something you always need to kind of work on. So I want to share with you a few ways that if you know that you struggle to say no, you struggle to set boundaries with people, where you struggle to just overgive and not know how to step back in situations, I hope that maybe these suggestions can help you. Maybe they can give you some ideas on how you can get started with setting emotional boundaries, how to have boundaries in your life to just make you feel more free, to help you to reclaim your power, your time, because you deserve it. You only get one shot in this life, so let's not waste it. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to mention that has really helped me is learning to protect your energy. You know, I've said in the past, if it's costing you your peace, it's too expensive. And I truly believe in this. The reality is, so many of us, we give away our time so freely without thinking twice. We don't think that time is something so precious. You know, money, a lot of us stress and worry about it, and rightly so. But we can work towards making more money, whereas time, once it's gone, that's it. It's gone. You know, there's no rewind button with time, as much as we would love for one to be there. So if we become mindful about how precious our time is, then that's when you start becoming selective of how you are spending your time. You know, so I always remind myself, what am I doing with my time? How am I spending it? Who am I spending it with? And sometimes you just need to do an audit, a check with yourself. Like, who are you spending your time with? What's draining you? What's making you feel stressed out? And are there ways that you can limit the amount of time you spend with people where you don't need to, but they drain your energy? They exhaust you. Maybe these are the people constantly expecting you to be there when they want you to, because they've got used to this version of you always being there. It's about really being honest with yourself and understanding, am I spending my time the way I want to? Am I spending it in a way that's bringing me joy with the people who uplift me, who support me, who are encouraging me to be the best version of myself? Or am I just saying yes to things that I don't really want to do because I'm afraid that I'm going to upset my friend? Am I just going along because I want to be accepted? It's about understanding that you get a choice how you spend your time. It should be your decision. And look, I get it. We all have to do certain things that, sometimes we don't want to do. We have responsibilities. Take care of our elderly parents, maybe other responsibilities that we have. Those are not the things that I'm talking about here. I think so many of us, we can mindlessly spend our time doing things that we actually have a choice that we don't have to do. And it's about recognizing what those things are. It could be mindlessly scrolling on social media that make us feel crap, that make us feel rubbish about ourselves. Because I don't know about you, sometimes social media, when we go on there to look at one thing, next thing we know, we're on there for half an hour and we end up feeling bad about ourselves because everyone looks perfect and everyone's got everything figured out. And oftentimes we can end up comparing ourselves, not feeling enough. So it's about having that boundary with yourself and understanding how you are spending your time. The next thing I would like to mention that has really helped me is having the ability to walk away from people who are toxic, from people who are not good for you. I think so many of us, we have a fear of being alone. We have this innate fear within us that if I am not with this person, if I don't continue with this friendship or this relationship, then I'll be alone. And so we put up with people who may be using us. Maybe you're in a dynamic where you're the one who's giving, and the other person is taking. When you are not afraid of being alone, this is when you can walk away from situations, from people who are toxic. This is when you can put boundaries in place and let people know, you know what, I love you, I enjoy spending time with you, but I cannot speak to the phone with you every single evening because I have other things in my life that I have to do. This is when you have the courage to speak your truth because you're not afraid of disappointing people. A lot of the reasons why I believe so many of us, we end up staying in that toxic relationship or in a friendship situation as well. Sometimes friendship can be toxic too. Is because we're just scared. We are scared what's going to be on the other side if we do something different, if we do something that this person may not be happy with. So when you know and when you're comfortable with your own company and who you are, then that's when you understand the importance of being able to know your worth and what you deserve and not let people take advantage of you. So let me give you an example. It could be you're in a friendship situation where you're the one who is always listening to the other person, maybe becoming their therapist or almost. And, that person maybe is just asking too much from you, understanding that it has become a one-way relationship where you are the one who's giving, and recognizing that, and maybe you can let the person know how it's affecting you, or you can set limit to the amount of time you see and spend with this person. Being able to walk away is powerful. This is something people can feel. They can sense that you are a powerful woman and that you value yourself, you value the time you spend with yourself, and you're not going to be afraid to walk away from situations, whether that is a relationship dynamic or a friendship, because you're not afraid of the outcome of losing people who are not good for you. And that puts you in a position where I think it's a really great position where you're not going to be attached to people for the wrong reason. You can let go, detach from situations that are not serving you, that are not good for you, and you'll be at more peace with yourself. The next thing I would like to mention in setting healthy boundaries, setting emotional boundaries that I believe that can help transform and change your life in a good way, is by learning to fill up your own cup, focusing on your own needs before you become the superwoman and have too much in your cup where you are exhausted, tired, and you're not good for no one. So many of us, I think we overestimate how much we can do, so we take on so many things and we end up juggling. And this is when we're tired and exhausted, and we show up to our friends just knackered, and that's not good for no one. We show up to the family event just feeling resentful and not being the better version of ourselves. So one way to avoid that is by really prioritizing nourishing yourself. I think so many of us as women in particular, we feel bad to nurture ourselves, to take time out and to take care of ourselves, love ourselves, just learning to fuel ourselves so that we can be there for the people that truly need us, for our elderly parents or our children or our family or our partner, whoever that may be. We bought into this idea that being someone who needs to take care of herself is selfish. Self-care is not selfish, it's a necessity. This is the way you can be that best version of yourself. The people around you will thank you. No one wants to see that version of you who's snappy, who's complaining. Maybe some people, but I know from my friends, from my sisters and my family, I would want them to be someone who's got energy when they show up, who's got a good vibe about them, who is being positive, who's got a great outlook. I would prefer to see that version of them when I am in their company. And that's why it's important you learn to take care of yourself, filling your own cup. What does this mean? It means learning to take time out, not feeling guilty about saying no to events, in particular events where you don't have to be. Maybe one weekend all your friends are going out and you feel bad that you're just tired. Maybe you're on your menstrual cycle and it's that time of the month and you're just exhausted, but you feel guilty that you may not be with everyone. It's about removing that guilt. It's about understanding what your body needs and listening to it and giving it what it needs. Some people may be disappointed, they may be upset, but the people that really care about you will understand. They'll get it. Maybe they will be upset for a little bit, but they'll get over it. They'll understand, you are a person, you are a human, you've got needs, you have to do things for yourself. So when you understand that taking care of yourself, filling in your own cup is not just, it's not just an option, it is a must. You know, prioritizing it, making sure you try and do that daily, you will start to feel so much better. You start to become more clear about the things that are important for you, the things that you want to give your time to. You start to understand the importance of setting boundaries, taking a step back and taking care of yourself as number one priority and not feeling bad about that. The next point I'd like to mention about setting emotional boundaries and how I think that this will really help in different situations is learning to stand in your own power. What do I mean by this? I mean, so many of us, we just follow. We follow people, what they're doing, what they're wearing, what they're thinking. You know, so many of us, we just go along with what everyone else is doing around us. This goes back to wanting validation, wanting acceptance. And I get that. We all want that. We want to be liked. You know, it's within us. We have this innately within us for wanting this desire to be liked, to be wanted. But it's when we do things automatically without thinking, when we start taking on others' opinions and their judgments and their views, it's almost like we merge ourselves, our identity, to please other people. And this is when we lose ourselves. This is when we start doing things for the sake of fitting in. Maybe you know that you're on a health journey at the moment and you don't want to expose your body to harmful substances, and maybe you're going on a journey on seeing how strong and fit you can become to become the better version of yourself, the sexiest version of yourself. You know, you don't have to explain, but it's understanding the things that are important to you, why you're doing it, and sticking to them. That is what will help you to set boundaries. It's about understanding, you know, people will always share their opinions and their views and try and influence us. This can be from social media, our friends, our family, the communities that we surround ourselves with. Understanding that everyone is in their own environment, what they believe and the things and people do and why they do them. You know, that's their world, that's their thing. But it doesn't mean that you and I have to do what they're doing. You know, we can still be civil with people, be friends with people, and yet have your own identity and not feeling the need that you have to merge yourself in order to be accepted and liked. And when you stand in your own power, this is when you claim your true self. This is when you become powerful because you know who you are. And people will start respecting you because they can see that you're not just going to get influenced really easily. You stick to your standard. You stick to your boundaries. These are my thoughts about setting emotional boundaries. Let me know what you think. Are you someone that struggles to set emotional boundaries? I would love to hear from you. I hope you're all doing really well. It's been a while since I did my last video, but I'm hoping to get back into making videos because I really enjoyed them. I enjoy sharing information with you that I learn on my journey, and I really hope that it's a way that you can resonate. Maybe some of you can find it helpful. Share your thoughts with me. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're all doing really well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.